Hello and welcome to Billy the Batboy's Corner, presented by Up on Game. I'm Billy Pinckney, and today we have New York Yankees prospect Derek Kraft joining the show. He's unfortunately fallen to Tommy John surgery for the rest of this year and part of next season as well, but he's looking to come back next season, and he has a lot to tell us here about the surgery and his experience with the Yankees organization, as well as some other things that I know you guys will enjoy. So without further ado, here's Derek Kraft. All right, guys, we're here alongside Derek Kraft, New York Yankees pitching prospect. Appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, well, University of Texas guy right here from San Antonio. There for a few years as a pitcher, but then had a great year in 2018. Put up some solid numbers. What would you say led to that consistency in 2018 compared to your previous couple seasons?
Well, first off, just 100% want to clarify. I went to the University of Texas at San Antonio, UTSA, proud to be a Roadrunner there. But yeah, my junior year, I really took off. We had a pitching coach change. The new pitching coach that we had, he was all about mentality and all about attacking and less about, I want to say, the more minute details of fundamentals. And for me, a guy who just got off the mound and threw anyway, that was, a great fit for me. Things just kind of started to click. I was, an older member of the pitching staff than as a junior. So I was just given more opportunities, everything from being the first out of the bullpen to the closer to the setup. And I even started 3 games in my junior year. So we had a really good team that year, a really good group of guys. And I think, I finally got used to being in college and being in the city, coming from a small town. And I really just kind of felt more comfortable with myself as not only a baseball player and a pitcher, but as, just as a person, just really kind of growing up finally. And I feel like all that just came together. And like you said, I had a really good year.
Well, you were then drafted by the Yankees, and making that transition into pro ball, was that difficult for you? And did you found your role in the bullpen?
Yeah, no, it was a shocker that I was drafted. First off, wasn't expecting it up until about, I want to say, 2 weeks before the draft, when my college coach, my head coach at UTSA, had said, "Hey, we've enjoyed having you. Good luck at the draft." And I was kind of like, "The draft? What are you talking about?" But it worked out, 16th round, day 3 there. And really, it was just a dream come true. I know you hear that so often. Everyone says, just that's always been the dream. Finally getting to do it is just amazing. But I mean, I really have no other words but that to describe it. And just pro ball, it was just getting to play more baseball, really. If I wasn't down there in Tampa, playing in the GCL, I would have been up in Kansas or something playing college summer ball. So it was really just more baseball, just getting to play, and I tried to soak it up and enjoy as much of it as I could.
Well, this season you unfortunately had to have Tommy John surgery. Can you take us through when you realized that was a surgery you'd have to have, and just that whole timeline there?
Yeah, got hurt in late July. I was one of the guys that never felt the pop. It was just kind of, I described it as a tightness that just kind of kept building up until more discomfort as my outing went on. And finally, my last 2 or 3 pitches, it was pretty uncomfortable and hurt enough to where it was noticeable by our training staff and our coaches. And they pulled me from the game, went back there. We initially thought it was a flexor strain. So, my hopes were high. I was like, okay, I'm good. Just, 10 days off, go on the 7-day IL and we'd be fine. But tried to come back from that and tried to play catch again. And it hurt just as bad as it did. So that's when we went and got the MRI. Got the results the next day, went and met with the doctor, Dr. Ahmad up in New York. And, he looked at it and, he said there are multiple ways to go about it. PRP injection, just kind of temporarily heal it, but it wouldn't fix the problem. And it really came down to the decision of, well, do I want to heal it and just, essentially wait for it to happen again and, be at peace with that decision, or go ahead and get it, completely replaced and fixed. And so we decided to get it fixed. And it was an emotional meeting with the doctor there, hearing that was his suggestion, and I knew that that's probably what I was going to have to do. So it was a sad moment. Had to call my parents right after that, and I shed some tears. But after that, it was just kind of acceptance, and it's like, okay, what do I got to do to get myself ready? Pre-surgery, and then get a plan together for post-surgery of how we're going to attack it and how I'm going to come back better than I was.
Yeah. So what's it looking like now for the timeline post surgery, and when you're able to get that brace off and maybe start some movements and exercises?
Well, yeah, we've been working on just light range of motion, kind of some passive stretching with a PT, and I have some small range of motion exercises that I'm allowed to do at home. Still really not lifting any weight to speak of with the right arm, which is really hard when all you do is with your right arm, and all of a sudden you're not able to use it. But it's all been going good. Range of motion's been coming back. Like I said, we're I guess 4 weeks out, about a month out of surgery tomorrow. So everything's been going great. And I think I got about another week, maybe two, of having to wear this brace, which can't come soon enough. I'm ready to get it off, and not really sure exactly what our timeline is going to look after that. I've been really trying to focus, just one thing at a time, but I think I'll be a total of about 6 months out of surgery before I can start playing catch again. And it'll be roughly 12 months since surgery till I'll be back to hopefully be back to game competition. So
I would like to touch on this 2022 season with the Somerset Patriots. It seems like a great group of guys, obviously a winning ball club, playing in the championship this coming week. Is this one of the more special teams that you've been a part of?
yeah, I've said it since day one with that team. Again, another kind of cliche, but this team is bonded better, quicker, more smoothly than any team I've been on, professionally or even in college. I love those guys I played with in college, but this group is special. This group is different, and I think everyone who was on that team can say that. I know we had rehab guys come down, and even they were saying how close of a group we are. I think sometimes there's a divide in the locker room between Americans and the Latin players from the Dominican and such like that. But I feel like our locker room was very well meshed with all of that. We all got along. We all helped each other. I think that was the biggest thing. If one hitter saw another hitter struggling with something, he stepped in, he helped them, he tried to help them figure it out. Pitchers, we did the same thing. We had a lot of conversations down in that bullpen, during games, before games, just trying to help each other kind of figure it out. And, yeah, it was something that I haven't experienced on any other teams that I've been a part of before. So it was a special group. I was sure sad to leave them. It hit me that last day when I was saying goodbye to everybody that there's a good chance I don't play with a lot of those guys again, at least not anytime soon. Hopefully by the time I get back to game competition, those guys are, up in the big leagues. I think that a lot of the guys on that team deserve it. And so it was really sad having to leave them. But I kept up with all their games, through live stream, MILB TV and such like that. And sent out text to all of them when they won the first semifinal of the playoff. And I know our coach, Dan Fiorito, actually Zoom called me, and I got to talk with him and a few of the other coaches, after that win. I think champagne was still dripping from their heads when they called me. So it was really, really special. I felt, very, very touched that they include me in a moment like that.
I mean, we hear a lot of times how the minor leagues are more for development and not as much for winning. And I mean, that's like a secondary thing. If it happens, it happens. But it really seems like the team embraced that, and the chemistry had a lot to do with it. What could you say about the coaching staff, Dan Fiorito, and the rest of the guys, of the leadership skills that they had in the clubhouse?
Oh yeah, the coaching staff there was great. I mean, we had a good collection of guys. They were younger, but still had an incredible amount of experience. They meshed and related to the players very well. Theo, Casa, Jake, and Bossy. They were a great group of guys. They're very, very professional. The way that they approach everything, the way they treat everything. The coaching staff handles adversity just as much as players do, and I think they took it in stride. I think we had a COVID scare with Theo. He also had to step out and had a daughter, and we had a couple of temporary managers come in and take his place. And I tell you, we didn't miss a beat. We missed him not being there, but again, the other coaches, they all stepped up. Took on a little bit extra roles, and they made it happen. If it wasn't for those four guys, and even our support staff, our athletic trainers, equipment managers, our video analysts, advanced scouting directors there, if it wasn't for all of them, I don't think Somerset has the success that it had this year. And I think that's something that the Yankees organization does a really good job of, is getting the right staff in place to help the development of the players.
I'd like to touch on one guy in particular, Anthony Volpe, and what he brings to the table and kind of talent he is. What did you see from him?
Gosh, I've been with Volpe since he was drafted in 2019 up in Pulaski, Virginia. You got to meet him there, and right away when he stepped on the field in 2019, I knew that this kid had an edge to him. He didn't. A lot of times you see first rounders kind of come in with just like, oh, hey, everybody look at me, I'm a first rounder. But Volpe wasn't like that. He came in and he got to work, and then coming back into 2020, that ended up not happening. Coming back from that in 2021, just seeing him in the clubhouse was like, this guy put a lot of work in the offseason. You could just see it in ways his body was built, his attitude, and then, of course, the way that he played on the field. Last year in 21, I was with him in Tampa and then in Hudson Valley again. And then to be with him again this year is really cool, just to see his progression and how he's grown up within the organization, within the game of baseball, in the clubhouse, relationship with the players. I mean, everybody loves him, especially being there in Somerset. He grew up, I think his house was 20 minutes away from the stadium, which was really cool. He would, on Sunday nights after games, he would have a lot of the players, come out to his house and you just hang out. I know we had a little bit of an after party there after winning the first half championship. I think we had an Easter celebration at his house. His family was incredibly welcoming to have us there. So just everything that Anthony Volpe brought to the table on that team was special. He contributed on and off the field. I mean, his performance on the field was very evident, in everything that happened this season. But he's a great guy. I've loved watching him, just continue to grow through this organization, and I can't wait to see him make it to the big leagues.
Great stuff. Well, I want to go back to you and yourself on the baseball field. Tall guy, 6'8", and I know something for taller pitchers to do is to repeat their delivery and have repeatable mechanics. I mean, for you, how have you been able to really master that?
Well, I can't say as though I've mastered it yet. I'm working on it. But you're right. Just so much of baseball and sports in general is being able to, repeat your delivery, your mechanics every time. And that's really what separates, minor leaguers from big leaguers, is the consistency of, being able to do the little things. And, like you said, being a real tall guy, I was a real skinny guy in high school. I think I graduated high school at like 175 pounds, just as tall as I am now. So I was a stick, didn't know how to use my lower half, had no idea what mechanics were. I just lifted my knee and through, and that was it. That was my whole delivery. That was my whole philosophy. And get to college, finally start filling out a little bit, actually get in the weight room for once in my life. Was able to get a little more strength, but still really didn't have a whole lot of concept for mechanics and, what needed to be done. I got to say, it wasn't until about 2019 that I started to have a good idea of what I needed to do, how to control my body through my delivery down the mound. And then it's just continued to build. I've had a great support staff. I got a great group of guys in a workout facility, here in East Texas that I go to, other, minor leaguers and big league players who, again, we all help each other out. And I've got some, great advice. I think 11-year vet Josh Tomlin is one of my good friends and kind of serves as one of my pitching coaches in the off season as he, also works out for himself. So it's great having guys like that around. And again, the staff with the Yankees have done a great job of helping me get consistent with everything. And again, I can't say as though I've mastered, the art of repetition of my delivery yet, but it's something that I'm continuing to work on, using my lower half, getting the right amount of rotation, hip shoulder separation, the way my arm is path is coming through, finishing everything. It's like I said, still a work in progress.
I know the Yankees are big on data too. How have those pitching coaches able to transfer and translate that data to you?
Yes, the Yankees are huge on data, and I'm not. I gotta be honest. I am probably the most simple, let's just get on the mound and go type person ever. But the coaching staff, the pitching coaches there have been great with helping me learn a little bit at a time, to where when they're talking about something, I know what they're talking about and I know what they're looking for, as far as, video review, post games, post bullpens and stuff like that. And I'm slowly getting a better grasp of all the data and stuff that we're looking for, what we need: spin rate, break Z, break X, all that different stuff. The Yankees are really big on that. I think they've even created a few uh, uh, metrics on their own that assess value for a player and help us kind of track our growth and stuff like that. But it's a crazy world that we're living in now. It's not as old school anymore. It's all data and all numbers. But the Yankees do a really good job of teaching that to their players from the moment they step foot in the complex in Florida. And again, it's another thing I'm still working on developing and still learning. So
For the guys like yourself who may not be as into it, do they sort of peel back if you say, okay, it's a lot right now, or let's take like baby steps here of how we're interpreting it?
they do. They do. For someone like me, I know our pitching coaches and our analysts aren't harping on specific stuff. It's really more, finding a way to tell me what to do, what I'm looking for, to where they see the numbers change, and kind of make adjustments from there. And I think they do a really good job on that. I know, just talking about metrics and numbers and what's good and what's bad has been a very, very hot topic of conversation in our clubhouse in Somerset, especially in our bullpen. I think we've got some very opinionated individuals in that bullpen who like to have conversations about it, and can get some flustered with it at the same time. But again, we all are under the understanding that the numbers and our advanced analysts are there, to help us get better. And again, they do a great job of that.
Right. Are there a couple stats in specific that they like looking at the most for a guy like yourself?
For a guy like me, I'm what you call a Z-ball pitcher. I get a lot of kind of vertical break on my fastball. Pitchers like that are the type who throw hard up in the zone pretty regularly. So for stuff like that, you look at spin rate and break Z, like I said, which is just kind of the number of vertical break that you're getting off of what would be 0-0, a standard fastball without any movement. So that's kind of the biggest thing I look at is the break X and the break Z of my fastballs, the spin rate of my fastball, my slider, and then how much they're moving and different stuff like that. That's kind of my biggest focus over the last couple years is just getting a good grasp of those numbers.
For the young pitchers out there who might be in high school, is there anything that you'd like to share with them? Maybe something that you wish you knew at that age?
Oh gosh, we'd be here all day if I got into everything. I coach in the off season. When I come home, I coach a high school, middle school age groups. So, fall travel ball stuff, go to showcases and stuff like that. And kind of the one thing I always try to focus on is when you try to throw harder, you end up not. It's everything, especially the younger age groups think everything comes from the arm. Everything comes from the arm. If I want to throw harder, I got to move my arm faster. And I always tell my kids it comes from the legs. You got to build from the ground up, get a good foundation from your lower half, harp on that. By the time you get to the high school age group, how to throw a baseball. You just pick it up and let your arm do what it does. And so if you can really focus on your lower half mechanics and, really focus on being efficient, moving down the mound with explosiveness, the right amount of rotation, then the upper half will, catch up and take care of itself. Yeah, it's in the other thing. I was literally just talking about this in a tournament this weekend with one of my kids. When you try to be fine and you try to dot up and you try to hit your spots, the more you really try to be perfect, the less you're going to be. You at some point in time, you're just going to have to trust your pitches. Trust your fastball to go where it needs to go. Trust your breaking ball to break the way it needs to. And just don't try to place it. Don't try to be perfect. Just throw it. The hardest thing to do in sports is to hit a pitch. And, you're going to have to live on that sometimes. And that's really my biggest thing for the younger kids is don't try to be perfect because you're not going to be. And, just get out there and compete with your best stuff. Throw it right down the middle. If they hit it, they hit it. And I mean, I'm 26 years old in Double A, and that's my philosophy, So it doesn't always work out, but it's a good place to start anyway.
Great stuff. Well, before I let you go, I do want to show you this right here. We got your bobblehead from Pulaski. This is rookie ball, right?
That was 2019 Pulaski, Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Gosh. I tell you, that makes me light up every time I see that.
Look, so when was the first time you saw this? What was your reaction to it?
So the general manager there, she sent me a text in the off season after the 2019 season and asked me if it was something that I would be open to doing. I mean, who in their right mind is going to say no to having a bobblehead made, right? So, and that place there, Pulaski, Virginia, is always going to hold a special place in my heart. The fans there were incredible. I think we had like a 3,200 seat stadium, and I think we had about 4,000 fans there every night. So it was standing room only. The fans there were incredible. It was a rural town, and me wearing my cowboy hat, boots, and jeans to and from the field every day fit right in up there. I know the fans liked it. For me, it was fun looking up in the stands while I was warming up on the mound and seeing, some cowboy hats up in the stands. So that was real special for me. So when they called and said, hey, we want to do a cowboy craft bobblehead for our agricultural night next year, which they have every year, and they still do, even though they're a college summer team now. I, of course, said yes. And they said, anything specific you want on it? And I said, just – you get my 3/4 sleeve right, get my stirrups right, and maybe put a lasso in my hands. That'd be fun. And they made it happen. And yeah, they actually sent me, I want to say like 3 dozen bobbleheads, which was nice for me. I didn't have to buy Christmas gifts for my family that year, which was fun. But no, that always makes me laugh. No matter what mood I'm in, if I'm at the ballpark and someone's leaning over the railing asking me to sign my bobblehead, I'm instantly smiling. So that was just a great honor. It's a good little, I don't know, just good feel-good moment, I guess.
Awesome. Great stuff. Derek, I appreciate you taking the time, and best of luck recovering, and hopefully we'll see you out there soon.
Absolutely. I appreciate you, man.
We'd like to thank you for tuning into this episode of Billy the Batboy's Corner, presented by Up On Game. Derek Kraft, somebody who's unfortunately recovering from Tommy John surgery, but he's doing what he can to stay healthy and proceed with his rehab. We hope to see him back out there on the field in 2023, and we'll see you guys next time here on the show. But before we leave, we do want to remind you we're supporting the Father English Center in Paterson, New Jersey. Please subscribe on YouTube, rate, review, and also stay connected on social media at Billy the Batboy and at Up On Game Network. We'll see you guys next time here on the show.